Hi, this is Krista at The Secret Yarnery. Today I'm going to show you why I turn my granny squares. Now I didn't used to. I wanted all my pretty stitches facing up. I'm like, I cannot turn my work. I need those, I need the beauty of it. I need all my stitches facing up, and that's it, zero. No flexibility in that until I forget which pattern I was doing. Oh, I remember what it was. It was my Daisy Granny blanket. I made all my stitches facing up. It was so pretty and gorgeous. I went to join it and all of my daisies were like, like, you know, not nice and true and square. And I was a bit disappointed because it was one of my first blankets that I made and I really wanted it to be perfect. I thought it was going to be perfect. The colors are great and everything. I'll be showing you it stacked in the back. So don't worry, you're going to be seeing exactly what I'm talking about a little later on. But they didn't look like true squares joined together. They were a little bit like, ooh, ooh, and then ooh, ooh. So it was no. And you needed those sound effects. I know you did. Now you can hear what I mean, right? So after that, I started researching why my granny squares look like twisted or not like super straight and square. And apparently it's because you don't turn your work. When you crochet, you naturally pull the yarn towards your hook. So all of your stitches slowly pull and the center of your work slowly goes the other direction because your stitches are slowly pulling towards your work. So the bigger it gets, the more you can see it. You can't totally notice square by square, but you can totally notice when you join them together. And then you're like, oh, like they were perfect and now they're all kind of like, you know, they got a limp to them. They're not straight. So that is where my epiphany hit me of like, I have to turn my work because when I join my squares, I want them to be dead true. So now for my tutorials, I turn my work no matter what. I used to still not turn my work if I wasn't changing my color of yarn. I was like, if I'm not changing the color of yarn, you don't have to turn your work because there's no, you won't really notice that your center is a bit off. It's still gonna go by the outside edge. So I even did a few tutorials like that of here's a solid like one color granny square and I didn't turn my work. Although you can do it and I still do it myself, or I have done it. I have some UFOs where I have done that. I haven't completed them because now I'm like I really just should have turned my work. Because I just find it's like a better habit to have. You don't have to think, am I changing color or I'm not changing color? Do I only have to change, like turn my work if I change the color of yarn? If I only change the color of yarn, do I change every 3 rows when I change my color? Or can I change every row because I should? Or, you know, is that going to affect the like the shape of when it gets joined together? So now I'm just like, one rule, easy peasy, turn your work. I get a lot of questions about it. And I'm like, if I just had a sample that I could show people of like, this is what it looks like if you turn your work, exact same thing. This is what it looks like if you don't turn your work. So here is the result. First, I will show you not turning your work. And none of these have been blocked. I literally just sat here on this exact chair, watched TV exactly behind you right there, or exactly where you are. So this is the first granny square. And this one, I did not turn my work, and it looks really cute. Now in the center, if I line up the center stitch of this shell upstairs, or the top one, and the center stitch of the bottom shell, can you see that's on a bit of an angle? Like the center double, maybe I can use a needle. Let me see. Where's my needle? So here, those are the center stitches of that center round, of round 1. And you can see that it is not exactly up and down. It's a little twisted to the side. The outside is perfectly square, but you can see how the center has started to twist, right? Now if we do that, I need another needle. How many needles do I need? And there is if you turn your work. Those are the center stitches when you turn your work. So it is a lot more up and down. Can you see that? Plus, if you're just looking at the squares, this one's pretty straight. That one's pretty bent in. Because your work always curls up. So that's another reason why I like turning my work. That's like already blocked. Not that I block my work, but Anyway, so these are the two squares, and that is the difference between them. Then when you join them, now I did not block anything. I literally just sat here and crocheted and crocheted and crocheted and crocheted. And I did continuous join as you go for both, and I did 4 together. So you can see how they look a little bit wonky. It's not as dramatic as I thought it would be. I thought it would be like my first daisy square blanket where it just looked like, you know, almost like that. A lot worse than it is. But you can see, or hope you can see, how it's like not straight, even where you join. I did the exact same join, but this square seems to be lower. This square seems to be lower. Do you see how it's not like, it doesn't even look straight? So yes, you could block it, you could, you know, pull it and everything, but even if you pull it, it's just not perfectly square. Like this is taller, this looks taller than this. It looks like, you know, a row of single crochet taller. It is not, that is just not turning your work. That's just the extra pull you get from always pulling towards your hook, row after row after row. So it's still fine, and if you had it in a little blanket, like, you know, a little bit farther back and stuff, that's fine. You'd be like, what a cute blanket, I like the colors, like everything's fine. Let me put it there for you. Now if you turn your work, I did the exact same thing. I did not block, I did not do anything fancy. I literally just turned my work. I worked into the back every row, no matter what, I worked into the back. So here it is when you work into the back, or you turn your work every row. It looks like smack dab, pretty much dead even, right? The joins really line up. It's straight through the middle, it's straight across the top, it's straight across the bottom. I mean, minus this little whoop, which I do on purpose. I purposely make sure my joins are really snug because that's where the stress is going to be. So I do that on purpose. But other than that, they're really, really square. And perk looks great on both sides. Reversible, where if you don't turn your work, not reversible. It only looks good on the one side. So you have a good side and a bad side. So this is why, for me, I have to turn my work. And also why I turn my work for like all the time, even if I'm not changing color, just because I also even like, I've come to admire and like, can you see this little extra row? It's like a little extra box shape in between the colors. That's just from turning your work, and I really like it. I used to be like, oh no, that's working into the back, and it made me feel like it wasn't pretty. Now I totally like it. I'm like, I just love it. And that is why it's a must. I just think you get a better result. And you don't have to worry about good side, bad side. Other than when you do join as you go, one side has this little kind of the V's facing up, and one side just looks nice and smooth and tidy without those V's. But that's the only difference. So I guess if you like your little V's, that's the right side. But there we'll go like that. So let me know your preference about that in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your opinions about it. I have been up and down all around for years, but now I have committed, definitely going to be turning my work. That was so interesting, right? If you thought it was interesting, hit that like button down below, and also I'm waiting for you in that video right there. Stay hooked.